The wind carried a strange song as Alara stepped onto the cliff's edge. The air shimmered, not with heat but with possibility, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Before her lay the mirror lake, its surface so perfectly still it reflected not only the sky but the hidden truths of anyone who gazed upon it. Alara felt her heart quicken. So, they weren't lying. It really does show more than the surface. A whisper rose from the waters, soft and urgent. Look deeper. Seek not what you wish, but what you must see. She knelt, fingertips brushing the glassy surface. Instantly, ripples raced outward, forming visions that twisted with the wind. She saw forests burning, mountains crumbling, and cities suspended in moments of perfect silence. And then, beneath those visions, she saw herself not the Alara who walked these lands, but the Alara who had always been, fierce, unsure, and yet unbroken. A shadow moved behind her. She turned to see Kale, cloak whipping in the wind, eyes wide with both awe and fear. It shows the world. And us, he murmured. It's not just a reflection. It's a path. Alara straightened. Then we follow it. If this mirror shows what must be, we have to face it together. As they stepped closer to the lake, the wind picked up, twisting into shapes, forming faces of those who had come before them, heroes, traitors, seekers of truth. Their eyes seemed to pierce Alara and Kale, questioning their resolve, measuring their courage. Kale clenched his fists. It's like the wind itself is testing us. Every step forward. We're judged, Alara nodded, raising her hand to still the wind. Then we prove that we are more than fear. That we are the ones who shape the path, not the path shaping us. Suddenly, the lake's surface broke apart in a swirl of silver light. From it rose a figure, ethereal yet commanding, the Wind Guardian. Its eyes were storms, its wings made of gossamer air. Seekers, it intoned, voice like the rush of gale across cliffs. The mirror is not your enemy, nor your guide. It is your trial. You must face the currents within yourselves, for only when you are steadfast can the wind carry you forward. Alara swallowed, gripping Kel's arm. A trial. Inside ourselves. Of course it is. When is anything ever simple? The Guardian lifted a wing, stirring the winds into a vortex that swirled around them. Step forward. Look into the mirror. See the truth that the wind whispers. Only then may you walk the path unseen. Kale exhaled, determination hardening in his eyes. Together, he said. Alara nodded. Together, and as their hands met over the rippling surface, the mirror lake shimmered, the winds bending around them, and the first step of their true journey began, a journey not of land, nor of distance, but of the self, of courage, and of the unseen forces that shaped destiny itself. The surface of the lake shimmered beneath their hands, the ripples spreading outward like threads connecting them to unseen truths. The wind howled louder, carrying whispers of forgotten promises and long-buried fears. The mirror was no longer simply water, it was alive, a gateway to what lay hidden inside themselves. Alara's reflection shifted. She saw not only her own face, but moments she had tried to forget, the hesitation that had cost allies their lives, the doubts that had held her back, the choices she had tried to ignore. She flinched. Kale placed a steady hand on her shoulder. It's showing us the truth, not to hurt us, but to prepare us. Alara's eyes met the mirrored version of herself, and for a moment she thought she could step into the water and be swallowed whole. The reflection whispered in her voice, but softer, almost tender, "You are fear. You are courage. You are what you choose to become. Choose wisely." Kale approached his reflection. The wind twisted violently, forming shapes of moments he had failed to act, of friends he could not save, of power he had misused. The reflection spoke, "You are not enough. You never were. And yet, you must be." He clenched his fists. "I'm not perfect. I will fail again, but I will rise, and I will protect those I care for. That is who I am." The reflection shimmered as if approving, and dissolved into a silver mist that merged with the winds around them. Alara took a deep breath and spoke aloud, her voice strong despite the fear twisting her stomach. "I am not just the mistakes I've made. I am not the doubts that haunt me. I am the courage I've found in the dark and the strength I have yet to discover. I am ready. The mirror lake pulsed, light surging upward, sending waves of energy through the air. The winged guardian descended from the swirling currents above, wings spread wide, eyes stormy but approving. You have seen yourselves clearly, it said. You have faced the winds of truth and found strength. The path ahead is no longer hidden. Walk it, and let the wind carry you to what you seek. The lake's surface parted like silk, revealing a bridge of light suspended above the void. The wind softened, carrying them forward rather than testing them. Alara and Kale stepped onto the bridge together, hearts steady, eyes bright. After all that, Kale said with a wry smile, I was expecting fire-breathing storms, not introspection and magic bridges. Alara chuckled, the tension breaking for the first time in hours. The mirror does not fight you. It prepares you. And I think we're ready for whatever lies beyond. The bridge stretched endlessly ahead, shimmering and alive, and the wind whispered secrets of distant lands, hidden trials, and the destiny that awaited them. Together, hand in hand, they stepped forward into the unknown. The mirror for the wind having shown them not just who they were, but who they could become. The bridge of light stretched endlessly, shimmering like liquid silver above the void. The wind, once soft and guiding, now rose with a fierce, almost sentient strength, whipping around them in spirals that threatened to tear their footing from beneath their feet. Alara gripped Kel's hand tighter. Looks like the mirror wasn't done with us yet. Kale nodded, letting the wind push against him without resistance. It's testing more than courage now. Balance, focus, trust. Suddenly, gusts of wind coalesced into shapes phantoms made of pure air, twisting and forming into creatures that mirrored their fears. One took the shape of a massive hawk with eyes of storm clouds, its beak snapping inches from Alara's face. Another coalesced into a shadowy Volf, circling Kale, teeth-like shards of ice. Elara drew a deep breath, recalling the lessons of the Mirror Lake. We don't fight the wind, she said. We flow with it. We use it, not resist it. Kale mirrored her stance, flames sparking faintly in his palm, not to attack but to illuminate the path ahead. And we trust each other, he added. The air shifted violently, and the bridge itself seemed to ripple like water. One misstep could send them plunging into the void below. The Wind Guardian appeared above, wings slicing through the storm. Balance is your weapon. Unity is your shield. Only together can you pass this trial. Alara stepped forward first, letting the wind guide her movements, turning gusts that sought to unbalance her into momentum, flowing with the currents rather than resisting. Kale followed, synchronizing each step with hers, his own body a counterweight to the shifting air. The wind phantoms attacked again, but now their strikes met not resistance but harmony. Alara and Kale moved as one, flowing around the threats, turning danger into grace. Every leap, every dodge, every step forward became part of a dance with the storm. Finally, the bridge narrowed into a single point of light, pulsating with radiant energy. The wind calmed around them, swirling gently as if acknowledging their mastery. The Wind Guardian landed on the light, eyes stormy but approving. You have faced the mirror, the winds, and yourselves. You are prepared. The path beyond is no longer hidden, and your courage has proven true. Step forward and let the wind guide your destiny. Alara exhaled, smiling faintly. I think we're ready, Kale nodded, eyes bright with determination. Whatever comes next, we face it together, hand in hand. They stepped into the glowing point, and the bridge of light dissolved into a swirling vortex of wind and energy, carrying them forward into the unknown world beyond the mirror world where courage, wisdom, and unity would be tested like never before. The swirling vortex of wind and light spat them out into a landscape unlike any they had seen. Floating islands drifted in an endless sky. Streams of molten silver poured from cliffs that vanished into clouds, and towering spires of crystal shimmered with their own inner light. The air buzzed with raw energy, charged with the power of elemental forces. Alara took a cautious step forward. I thought the mirror was the trial, but this feels like a whole new world. Kel's flames flickered with anticipation, illuminating the path ahead. Every trial has layers. This one tests not just us, but what we can endure together. Suddenly, the ground beneath them shifted. and the first trial revealed itself, a bridge of air, invisible except for gusts that sculpted the currents into steps. The wind surged unpredictably, threatening to throw them off balance. Elara glanced at Kale. So, we have to walk on air, and not fall. Kale smirked despite the tension. Piece of cake. You first, as they stepped onto the invisible bridge. Elemental spirits began to emerge from the surrounding islands, creatures made of wind, flame, water, and earth, each testing a different aspect of their skill and resolve. A whirlwind formed before them, a twisting column of air that sought to knock them off the bridge. Elara took a deep breath, feeling the wind not as an enemy but as a partner. She stepped with it, letting the gusts carry her forward. Kale followed, his flames forming a barrier of warmth and light to counter the chill of the spinning air. Next, rivers of molten silver tried to sweep them into the void below. Kale extended his hand, flames coiling to form a bridge of heat over the liquid metal, while Elara used the fragment's energy to stabilize the currents. They moved as one, each step synchronized, each choice reinforcing the other. Then came the trial of reflection. Crystalline spires rose from the floating islands, projecting visions of what they could become if they failed: destruction, despair, loss. Elara saw herself abandoning Kale. Kale saw his flames consuming all he loved. The spire's light was seductive, but they did not flinch. Elara raised the fragments. These visions, they aren't reality. Our choices define what happens, not fear. Kale nodded. Exactly. Let's prove it. Together, they shatter the illusions with a pulse of energy. Fragments and flames intertwining, scattering the projections into harmless light. Finally, the path led to a massive floating platform, the center of the elemental storm. At its core hovered a crystal orb shimmering with the combined forces of wind, fire, earth, and water. The Wind Guardian appeared beside it, wings spread wide, eyes like storms. You have passed the mirror, you have faced the winds, and you have moved through the elements. Yet one final choice remains, it intoned. Will you take the power of the elements for yourselves, or will you carry it to protect the world? Your unity will decide the path of destiny. Elara looked at Kale. We've made it this far, together. Whatever the choice, it has to be for everyone, not just us. Kale smiled faintly, flames curling around his hands. Agreed, together, always. Let's finish this. Hand in hand, they reached for the orb, ready to claim not just the elemental power, but the responsibility that came with it. Their hearts and courage tested to the fullest, asterisk as their hands closed around the crystal orb. A surge of energy rippled through the floating islands. The elements responded not gently, but with the raw intensity of untamed forces. Wind whipped into tornadoes, flames erupted in pillars. Rivers of molten silver boiled, and jagged rocks of stone and crystal spun in deadly arcs. The Wind Guardian's voice echoed over the chaos. This is the final trial. Only those who act in perfect harmony can command the elements without being destroyed. Trust in one another, or the power will consume you. Elara's grip on the fragments tightened. Kale. We move together, step by step. Every decision, every strike, every counter. In sync, Kale nodded, flames dancing along his arms. No hesitation. We trust each other completely. The wind struck first, forming a massive vortex that threatened to throw them into the void. Elara extended her fragments outward, creating a lattice of radiant light. The wind flowed along the lattice, bending around them rather than against them. Kale ignited a ring of fire beneath their feet, stabilizing the air currents and forming a bridge through the swirling storm. Next came water, erupting in torrents of silver that sought to drown the platform beneath them. Elara raised the fragments higher, bending the streams into harmless arcs, while Kel's fire evaporated the smaller waves, creating a path forward. Rocks and crystal shards flew like missiles from the floating cliffs. Timing and precision were everything. Elara projected bursts of light to redirect them. Kel's flames provided both illumination and shielding. Every move, every thought, every breath was synchronized. Their unity, the key to survival. Then the storm coalesced into a colossal elemental avatar, a being of wind, fire, water, and stone, reflecting all the trials they had faced. Its voice thundered through the sky, "Prove that you are worthy. Let the elements obey not through force, but through harmony." Alara and Kale exchanged a determined glance. Together, Alara whispered. Together, Kale echoed. They combined their powers. Fragments radiated golden light, Kel's flames intertwined with the energy of the orb, and the elements responded not as enemies but as allies. Wind swirled into controlled patterns. Fire danced in harmony, water flowed without obstruction, and stone rose to form protective barriers. The avatar hesitated, then bowed, dissipating into radiant streams of energy that merged with the orb. The storm calmed. The floating islands became still. The orb glowed steadily, now a beacon of elemental unity. Alara lowered her hand, breathing hard. "We did it. We actually did it." Kel's flames softened, a warm glow bathing their surroundings. "We survived the mirror, the winds, and the elements together. That's more than I could have hoped for." The Wind Guardian appeared once more, wings folding gracefully. "You have mastered yourselves and the elements. You have chosen unity over power, courage over fear. The path is now open. Go forth and let the winds carry your destiny." The orb lifted, merging with the fragments, creating a radiant aura that surrounded them. The floating islands shimmered with new life, the storm dissolved into calm, and the path forward opened, a horizon filled with infinite possibilities, adventures yet to be written, and a world ready to witness the courage of those who had faced the mirror for the wind. Alara and Kale stepped forward together, leaving behind the trials, their hearts aligned with the elements, and their spirits ready for whatever lay beyond. The glow from the orb and fragments faded into a gentle light that bathed the floating islands in a serene radiance. The elements had settled, the wind whispered softly, and the path forward stretched endlessly, suspended above an endless sky. Alara exhaled, her voice trembling with awe. "It's beautiful. Almost like the world itself is waiting for us to decide what comes next." Kale nodded, his flames now calm and steady. "We've proven ourselves, but I feel this is just the beginning. The mirror showed us what we can endure, but now the real journey begins." From the horizon, a ripple of energy moved like a wave across the floating islands. Shapes emerged, fragments of landscapes they had never seen, towering forests of crystal trees, rivers of liquid light, mountains that floated upside down, and creatures that shimmered between reality and dream. The orb pulsed, and a voice, soft yet commanding, resonated through the air. "The mirror has judged you worthy. The elements obey your unity, but the world beyond is shaped not by power alone, but by choice. What you do next will echo across all realms." Alara looked at Kale. "Choice? Huh? I guess that makes sense. We've seen what happens when people or even just ourselves ignore what's important." Kale smiled faintly. "Then let's make sure our choices matter. For each other and for everyone who will be affected by what comes next." As they stepped onto the nearest floating island, the orb's light spread across the terrain, revealing a pathway of shimmering energy. Each step created small pulses of life. Flowers of glass bloomed instantly, trees sprouted and bent in the wind as if bowing to them, and rivers of light flowed beneath their feet. It was a world in formation, responding to the harmony and courage they had shown. Suddenly, from one of the distant islands, a shadow stirred, a figure cloaked in darkness, yet radiating a presence of intelligence and power. It moved with purpose, observing them, yet not attacking. The orb pulsed once more, almost warningly. "All who watch you are bound by destiny's threads. Some will help, some will hinder, but all are drawn by the light you carry." Alara tightened her grip on Kel's hand. "So it begins. The world isn't just a place we walk through, it's a test, a living thing. And someone or something is waiting to challenge us." Kel's eyes glowed faintly with flames of determination. "Then we face it, together, like we always have." The wind picked up again, gentle but insistent, carrying with it whispers of adventure, challenge, and destiny. And as they moved forward, hand in hand, the mirror for the wind faded behind them, leaving only its lessons, courage, unity, and the understanding that their choices could shape not just themselves, but the world itself. The floating islands stretched endlessly, each more surreal than the last. Rivers of liquid light cut through crystalline forests, and skies swirled with auroras that seemed almost alive. Yet the sense of calm was deceptive. From the shadows of a distant island, the cloaked figure observed movements deliberate, as if calculating the perfect moment to strike. Elara tightened her grip on Kel's hand. I can feel it. Someone's watching. Not just watching us, but testing us. Kel nodded, flames flickering along his arms, forming a protective glow around them. The mirror prepared us, but it didn't make the world safe. Only ready. We need to stay sharp, the shadow shifted, stepping into the light of a floating spire. The figure was tall, wrapped in flowing robes of black and deep violet, with eyes that burned faintly red. There was no immediate attack yet, its presence radiated control, as if it could bend the very landscape to its will. Welcome. Travelers, the figure's voice carried across the islands, smooth and chilling. I have been waiting for those who emerge from the mirror. Few make it this far. Few still survive what comes next. Elara stepped forward, fragments glowing faintly at her sides. Who are you? And what do you want? I am the weaver of currents, the figure replied, voice like shifting winds. I guide what must move and obstruct what must fall. You have shown courage and unity. But courage alone will not be enough here. The world tests all who enter it. And I am the first. Kel's flames rose higher, wrapping around them like a shield. Then we'll face you. Together, the weaver lifted a hand and the islands around them shifted. Paths twisted, rivers reversed, and pillars of crystal rose like spears from the ground. Wind and light danced violently across the landscape, forming a maze that tested both their skill and their trust in one another. Elara focused, letting the lessons of the mirror guide her. Kel, follow my lead. Trust the fragments. Trust me. We move as one. Kel nodded, matching her movements perfectly. Together, they navigated the twisting islands, avoiding collapsing bridges of light, dodging shards of crystal, and turning the chaotic currents of wind into opportunities to advance. The weaver's laughter echoed across the void. Impressive. But the trial is only beginning. Only those who master themselves and each other may reach the heart of this world and claim its truth. Elara and Kel exchanged a determined glance. Then we keep moving, Elara said. Together, Kel confirmed, hand in hand. They pressed forward into the shifting labyrinth of the weaver's making. Their unity and courage tested at every turn. The fate of the world beyond the mirror beginning to rest on their shoulders. The shifting islands of light and crystal trembled under the weaver's power, forming towering walls and plunging chasms that seemed to test every step Elara and Kel took. The wind screamed around them, carrying whispers of doubt, of fear, of every failure they had ever known. Elara's fragments glowed steadily. This is it, Kel. The real test. Not just agility, not just courage, but our unity. Kel's flames spiraled around him, merging with the fragment's light. We've made it this far. Nothing the weaver throws at us can break us if we stay together. From the center of the storm, the weaver appeared again, its robes billowing as if alive. You have passed the mirror and the elemental trials, but here, you face yourself and each other. Only one choice will define your fate. Will you seek power or balance? With a flick of its wrist, the weaver summoned elemental avatars: wind, fire, water, and earth, each reflecting an aspect of their own strengths and fears. The wind avatar twisted into a vortex, threatening to tear them apart. Kel countered, creating a steady ring of flame around them, stabilizing their footing while allowing Elara to channel the fragment's light into the currents. Bending the wind to their advantage, water surged next, a torrent of liquid silver aiming to sweep them into the void. Elara focused, letting the light flow through her hands, creating bridges and deflecting the waves. Kel's fire evaporated the smaller currents, allowing them to advance further into the storm. The earth avatar rose as jagged crystal spikes, forcing them to leap and dodge with precision. Together, they moved in perfect synchronization, Kel anticipating Elara's movements, Elara predicting Kel's path, turning the chaos into a coordinated dance of light and flame. Finally, the avatars merged into a colossal elemental being. reflecting their fears, doubts, and the immense responsibility of wielding power. The Weaver's voice rang out, "You may command the elements, but can you command yourselves? Can you choose what is right over what is easy?" Alara took a deep breath, gripping Kel's hand. "We don't take this power for ourselves. We take it to protect what matters." Together, Kel nodded, flames spiraling higher. "We trust each other. That's our strength. That's our choice." The elemental being hesitated, then shattered into streams of energy that merged with the fragments and the orb. The storm subsided, the islands stabilized, and the path ahead glowed with a warm, inviting light. The Weaver descended before them, wings folding gracefully. "You have chosen wisely. Power without unity is destruction. Courage without trust is futile. You have proven yourselves worthy. The world beyond is now yours to explore and to protect." Alara exhaled, relief washing over her. "We did it. Together." Kel's flames softened, illuminating the bridge ahead. "The mirror showed us who we could be, and we've chosen it. Now we see what we can do." The orb merged completely with the fragments, glowing steadily, a symbol of their unity, courage, and wisdom. The floating islands hummed with life, responding to their presence, hand in hand. Alara and Kel stepped forward, leaving the Weaver behind, and into a world where every choice mattered, every step shaped destiny. And the true journey had only just begun. The floating islands stretched endlessly before them, bathed in the golden light of the orb and fragments. Rivers of liquid silver shimmered below crystalline forests, and skies swirled with colors they could scarcely name. Yet beauty did not guarantee safety. Every step forward felt alive, as if the world itself were watching, testing, waiting. Alara adjusted the fragments at her belt. "The Weaver said we were ready, but I can't shake the feeling that the real challenge is only beginning." Kel's flames flickered, reflecting determination. "We've learned to trust ourselves and each other. That has to count for something." From the distance, a faint glow pulsed across one of the islands, a city rising from crystal and light, seemingly suspended in midair. The structures were impossibly tall, elegant, and alien, and the glow carried a strange hum that resonated with the fragments. Alara tilted her head. "A city, but unlike anything we've seen. Look at the way it moves, like it's alive." Kel's eyes narrowed. "It's calling us, but are we walking into a new trial, or something worse?" Before they could step forward, a figure emerged from the bridge of light leading to the city. Tall and elegant, clad in robes that shimmered with the colors of the sky. The stranger's eyes glowed with knowledge both ancient and vast. "Travelers from the mirror," the figure said, voice melodic yet commanding. "I'm Lysara, keeper of the shifting realms. Few reach this place, and fewer still emerge unchanged. You carry the fragments and, with them, the balance of this world." Alara stepped forward cautiously. "Balance? What do you mean?" "We've only just completed the mirror's trials." Lysara extended a hand, and the city below shifted subtly, revealing hidden pathways and bridges that had been invisible moments before. "The mirror prepares you, yes. But this world tests the consequences of power. Every choice ripples outward. Here, your courage, unity, and wisdom will be challenged in ways that cannot be predicted." Kel's flames swirled around him, his gaze fixed on the city. "Then we move carefully. Observe, act, and trust each other. Like always." Alara nodded. "We face it together, no matter what comes next." As they stepped onto the first bridge into the city, the air shimmered, alive with currents of energy. Buildings pulsed faintly, and whispers of the city's history echoed in the wind. Civilizations long vanished, guardians of knowledge, and warnings of those who sought power for selfish ends. Every step became a test, pathways that shifted underfoot, illusions that sought to divide them, and glimpses of their own fears reflected in the architecture itself. Yet with every challenge, the fragments and Kel's flames responded, stabilizing the path and illuminating the truth of the city. Lysara followed silently, observing their every move. Finally, as they reached the city's central plaza, a massive crystal structure rose before them, a chamber glowing with pulsating light, inside which the very air seemed to bend. "Here lies the trial of choice," Lysara said softly. What you do within will determine not only your path, but the fate of the shifting realms themselves. Are you prepared? Elara and Kale exchanged a glance. We're ready, Elara said firmly. Kale nodded. Together, always, the crystal chamber opened before them, and the wind whispered through the plaza, carrying both promise and peril. Their next challenge, the trial of choice, awaited, and the true weight of their journey began to settle upon them.